What a weekend of boxing. We had a great card on Friday, some great fights on Saturday, and of course, Sunday, we had it as well. We got to talk about it, my peoples. You already know what it is. I'm JSmiff. This is Box Center, your favorite boxer's favorite boxing show. Let's talk boxing, man. Let's get it. Um, we're gonna kick this thing off in chronological order. So we'll get started with what took place on Friday. Card that has been very much anticipated. Something that I personally was looking forward to was the fact that, they were staging this event in Times Square in the middle of the skyscrapers out in the streets of New York. I thought that was super creative and it made it more interesting. It made more people want to tune in and see what this was going to look like. So good stuff from Eddie Hearn, His Excellency Turkey Al Sheikh, everybody involved in staging such an event in Times Square. So the first fight, salute to the first one in the building. The first fight that I'm gonna be talking about is Teofimo Lopez versus Arnold Barboza. What a fight, man. What a fight. First off, a lot of people felt like this fight was just gonna be rock'em sock'em robots, Teofimo banging it out with Arnold Barboza, and that's not what it was. Kyle Wilkinson, we back in the house. What's the deal, my brother? Got a lot of boxing this weekend, man. I hope you got to watch some of those fights, if not all of them. But Teofimo Lopez, I think on Friday he showed his versatility. A lot of people think Teofimo is just a guy that's gonna get in there and do rock'em sock'em robots type of fights every time out. That he's just gonna be there to bang it out with his opponent and outgun them. He showed us on Friday that he can box. Don't forget about it. Teofimo Lopez is a guy who's versatile. He can bang it out inside of a phone booth. He can box you in a football field. Either way, he can find a way to beat you. And Arnold Barboza found that out. I don't know if Barboza went in there maybe feeling like Teofimo was just going to stand in front of him and he was just going to bang it out with him. And that's not the way that it played out. So Teofimo Lopez reminded us that he's a versatile fighter who can do a lot in the ring. He doesn't just have to, be involved in a slugfest to try to win it. He can box. And we saw it on Friday. Made it look easy. It was a unanimous decision, that it wasn't close. It's not like, controversial decision. None of that. Teofimo Lopez showed us that he can box. Kyle Wilkinson, I was watching Eubank Jr. band, was unreal from start to finish. That's a fact, my brother. Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Ben gave us one of those performances that people will be talking about, for years and years. We'll be watching that fight for years and years as well. Class performance from TO2. I'm telling you, Teofimo Lopez showed us his versatility. He showed us that he can box, that he got great footwork, great ring IQ. So shout out to Teofimo Lopez. Did what he had to do to walk out of there with the W, and we saw it. We saw the skills. We saw the levels. Next up, Devin Haney, Jose Ramirez. Now, a lot of people are disappointed about that fight. They say Devin Haney did a lot of running and it was a snooze fest. It was super boring for them. Hey, listen, Devin played it safe. And there's something I said that played out the same way that I said it would. And it's that Devin Haney, if he's going to use that jab, use that footwork, use the entire every inch of that ring, and counter punch effectively, he could make it look easy. And he did. At no point in time during that fight did you feel like Jose Ramirez could beat him. Now, was it the most entertaining fight? It was not. Unfortunately, it was the type of fight where there wasn't a lot of action. Devin Haney, used a lot of footwork to the left, to the right, to the back. and didn't throw a lot of punches. So of course, you know, in a combat sport, that's what you want to see. You want to see a lot of action. So we didn't get that from Devin Haney's fight. However, I say it's a good win for Devin Haney, and here's why. Look at his fight with Ryan Garcia. He took a lot of damage, a lot of punishment, a lot of hard punches. So it's wise of him to come back to his very next fight and fight that type of fight where he's not going to absorb a lot of punishment. So I'm with it. Good win for Devin Haney. Made it look easy. Didn't take a lot of punches. Walked out of there with a W. You know, not as entertaining as you want the fight to be. Still walked out of there with a W, and that's the most important thing. Kyle Wilkinson. I haven't seen any highlights of Canelo's score yet. Was it a bit slow pace? I've heard. What's your thoughts, Jay? I'm going to get to that fight, my brother. Canelo versus Skull. That's a fight we have to talk about. I'm going to get to that. But again, you know, Devin Haney did what he had to do to beat Jose Ramirez for a cautious fight. And I give him his credit. He won. He defended his title. That's what it's all about at the end of the day. Wins and losses. So shout out to Devin Haney. Shout out to Bill Haney. They went up in there with the right game plan to not take a lot of damage and get the W. That's what I got to say about that. And the main event, of course, Ryan Garcia versus Rolis Romero. Raw Dog, Skull and Haney set boxing back. JJ's in the house. JSmiff, I'm here. Let's go. What's the deal? JJ's in their house. Raw Dog, if Haney doesn't want to fight, he might consider retirement. We're going to talk about that. So Ryan Garcia, Rolis Romero. Listen, a lot of us predicted that Ryan Garcia was going to knock Rolis Romero out. That was a common prediction. JJ's in the house. Hit the like button, everyone. Appreciate it, my brother. So we have to take this into consideration. You know, Ryan Garcia has that left hook. Is a power puncher, has the skills, and Rolis is also a power puncher. So people felt like Rolis just didn't have the skills to beat Ryan. Well, we saw what happened. We saw a Rolis who was sharp, who was boxing Ryan Garcia the way a lot of people didn't expect. He was very consistent with that jab to the body, jab to the body consistently, and made Ryan bring them hands down. And then what happened? Boom, boom. Double left hook. He dropped Ryan Garcia. After he dropped Ryan Garcia to the canvas, Ryan got up, but he was never the same again. He came off as being gun shy, as not wanting to let his hands go. And he allowed Rolis to operate. And there you have it. That's the way that fight played out. So that's a monster upset. I've been telling people, you know, all these names are fighting within a close window. There's going to be some upsets. There's the first one. Rolis beat Ryan Garcia. So congratulations to Rolis on a monster win. Shono Fu, can you try to say, no, I cannot try to say that. Raw Dog, Rolis coach devised an excellent game plan. Listen, you got to give credit to the coach. And that's Salas. Iconic coach, Cuban coach. Salas, you know, they prepared Rolis for this fight, and they did an amazing job. You saw that Rolis was using that jab a lot, a very stiff jab, using that jab to the body. Whenever Ryan Garcia closed the gap, you saw Rolis letting his hands go, combinations. So they prepared Rolis for Ryan Garcia. He also kept that hand up. Ryan Garcia was not gonna catch him with that big left hook. They was waiting for it. They was ready for it. Raw Dog, Rolis coach devised an excellent game plan. I agree with you 100%, my brother. I agree. They basically neutralized Ryan Garcia's left hook, and Rolis just did what he wanted to do. I felt like after Ryan Garcia got dropped, he was never the same again. I'm not sure, if he was hurt or if he just became gun shy, like, oh, wait a minute, I don't want to get hit with that big shot. But Ryan Garcia just wasn't the same. Rollies was able to operate, walked out of there with the upset win. So congratulations to Rollies Romero for the monster performance. That's it. You know, if you thought Rolly Romero's was over and he already lost a couple of fights, he's done. Just when you thought he was done, he gets a monster win. So we might see Rollies get a rematch with Tank Davis, or you gotta remember, my peoples, Ryan Garcia would have been Jerome Boost Ennis' mandatory if he would have won this fight. That was already announced. So, are we going to see Jerome Boost Ennis versus Rollies Romero? Rollies beat Ryan. Does that mean he's not going to be the mandatory? You got to see that. We got to see how that's going to develop. JJ's in the house. Rolly was boxing good. I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? A whole different fight style. Yo. Salas got Rollies looking sharp. Real sharp. This is not the Rollies that we used to seeing that's just going to be there banging it out and just there to trade blows. Rollies was boxing beautifully. So there's that. Now, obviously, that was a great night of boxing in Times Square. But then on Saturday, we had Canelo Alvarez versus William Skull. That fight, to be honest, watching it was disappointing. That fight was a disappointment, my peoples, because William Skull is such a big dude, and you know that Cuban style of boxing. He got that great footwork, that ring IQ. You felt like, you know, this guy can give Canelo problems. But as you start watching that fight, you see that William Skull is using a lot of footwork, and very little offense. Goes to the left, goes to the right, goes to the left again. One jab, goes to the left, goes to the right, left, right, feints right, goes left. Another two punches. Goes back, goes left, goes right. Like, there was way too much movement from William Skull when compared to his punch output. And by maybe like the 6th, 7th round, I already felt like Skull was there to survive. He was there to go the distance and be able to say, oh, well, I went 12 rounds with Canelo Alvarez. He was not there to try to win. At no point in time did he look like he was trying to take it from Canelo. He just looked like he was trying not to get hurt, trying not to eat a big shot. So he succeeded in that. You know, he succeeded in not getting knocked out. I guess, you know, he was trying to get a moral victory, but at no point in time did it look like he was trying to win, like he was trying to take it from Canelo. This fight looked very similar to Edgar Berlanga. Not as far as, you know, the way it played out in the ring, because William Skull has a lot more footwork than Edgar Berlanga. But both guys fought a very defensive fight where it looked like they was just trying to survive. JJ Sendeja, he had his left hand up all fight. Yo, he was ready for that Ryan Garcia left hook, my brother. Hell yeah. D. Willer, I'm undefeated in calling fights, OG. Y'all gonna listen to me one day. Stop it, my brother. Stop it. Nobody's undefeated. Nobody. We could call a lot of fights, and most of them will be accurate, but nobody's undefeated, brother. Stop it. Stop it. JJ's in the house. Too much herky jerky. Raw dog. Charlo, bro. The same with Charlo. Charlo wasn't there to win. Charlo wasn't there to win. Charlo was there to not get knocked out and say, yeah, I went the distance. We're gonna, and that's how you know Canelo's greatness. Think about it. Charlo, Berlanga, now Skull, all three of them were there to survive against Canelo and pick up that fat check for the Canelo sweepstake. payday, payday. They want payday, as Canelo would say. They not ready for that smoke. So, it was I would say a lackluster performance from William Skull, who didn't really, press the action at any point in time. Just a lot of movement, a lot of trying to stay away from Canelo. And, Canelo did what he had to do to win the fight. To me, the highlight, because that fight was not entertaining at all. Kyle Wilkinson, Canelo Crawford, what we saying? I was just about to get to that, my brother. To me, the highlight of the night, because Canelo versus Cole was such a lackluster fight. The highlight to me was Terrence Bud Crawford stepping in the ring and making it official that he will be fighting Canelo Alvarez in September, on September 12th to be exact. I already made my prediction, my peoples. I told y'all I got Terrence Bud Crawford winning this fight by unanimous decision. And that's it. It's finally going to happen. I get a great deal of satisfaction from this fight actually happening. You know why? A lot of people told me that I didn't know what I was talking about, that this fight was never gonna happen, that there's weight classes for a reason, that Crawford is too small to ever fight at 168, Canelo's too big for him, all that stuff. I heard it all. So all the people who bashed me for asking for this fight a couple of years ago, now they want to see it. There's people that even told me, I don't even want to see Canelo versus Crawford. That don't make no sense. I wouldn't even watch it. Oh, you wouldn't even watch it? Are you still saying that you wouldn't even watch it now? That it's a reality? Raw Dog. It's sad for boxing to see champions survive and not try. Yeah, man, I don't want to see that. I mean, a lot of people don't want to see that. You see two fighters in there, you want to see both of them giving everything they got to try to win that fight. Especially, this is for Undisputed. This is for all the marbles. William Skull was there to not get knocked out. That was like his ultimate plan. Good fight, brother. Hope you're well. I'd love to see that fight. Are you referring to Canelo versus Crawford? That's a fight, man, that I've been wanting to see for a couple of years. And the receipts are here. If you go back on this same channel, you'll find more than one video where I'm asking for Canelo versus Crawford. Yet, if you read the comments in those videos, it's people saying you don't know shit about boxing. That fight could never happen. The size difference. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, did you guys see Canelo and Crawford when they faced off? Did you see that? This Saturday? Did Canelo look like a giant in front of Crawford? You tell me, my peoples. Did Canelo look huge in front of Crawford? That's so you can see how people are. All the people that was like, yo, Crawford is too small, moving up 2 divisions. This weight class is for a reason. Everybody forgot that Canelo's a small 168 pounder. A very small 168 pounder. Canelo is little. So when he faced off with Crawford this Saturday, you could see, did he look like a giant in front of Crawford? No. Did he look big in front of Crawford? No. So that size difference that y'all think is there, it's not. It's not, my peoples. JJ's in the house. I need to talk to that guy that doesn't lose a pick when he says he's undefeated on picking fights. Bet the house. Yeah, no, listen, anybody who says they're undefeated picking fights is exaggerating, bro. If you was undefeated at picking fights, you would have been a millionaire, because since you're undefeated, you can bet everything on every fight and keep flipping your money. You'll be a millionaire in less than a year. You have millions that you don't even know what to do with it. So stop the cap. West, been wanting to see Bud versus Canelo for a long time too. I'm telling you, bro, I've been calling for that fight. And people telling me that it wasn't going to happen, that it doesn't make any sense. And this is how simple it is. The reason that fight does make sense is because Canelo is a small 168 pounder. He's not a big dude. You see, Crawford versus Benavidez, that would have made sense. Crawford versus Bivol, that would have made sense because those guys are really big. So Crawford cannot go from 147 to 154 to then fighting a huge 168 pounder because they're a lot bigger than him. But Canelo, who's shorter than him with less reach, he's not that big in front of Crawford. He didn't even look bigger than Crawford when they faced each other on Saturday. So that was the highlight for me on Saturday. We found out officially that Canelo versus Crawford is going down in September. Let's get it, my people. I'm ready for that action. Now, Raw Dog, the body punching of Canelo and power and chin is going to be something Bud hasn't felt. It doesn't matter that it's going to be something Bud hasn't felt. The skills of Terrence Crawford is going to be something Canelo hasn't felt. That, as simple as that. You got to remember, my brother, and I always tell people to take this into consideration in your assessment. The two fighters who beat Canelo, Crawford and Bivol, not power punchers, not a high knockout percentage. He didn't get beat. He got beat because he got outboxed. So when you feed this notion that Canelo's stronger, yo, that didn't help him with the guys who beat him up. Canelo was made to look bad by Floyd, and he was made to look bad by Dimitri Bivol. Those guys made it look easy against him. So power is not always going to dictate the outcome of a fight, my guy. Wes, I like to watch boxing, not track and field. It sucks when fighters just run trying to survive instead of win. Yeah, listen. If a guy's using the footwork effectively to win a fight, I don't knock him for it. Like, William Skull and Devin Haney did not do the same thing. Yes, both of them fought in a very defensive way. Both of them used a lot of footwork and a lot of movement. The difference is that Devin was fighting to win that fight. He was fighting to outpoint his opponent. William Skull was not. He was there to survive and collect his paycheck. So that's what made that fight, something that people were not happy about. There you have it. And my people, let's move on to Sunday. Naoya Inoue versus Cardenas. What's Cardenas' first name? If y'all could remind me, if y'all could Google it. Cardenas, what's his first name? I can't remember right now. Well, Naoya Inoue and Cardenas, they really went at it, my peoples. Cardenas dropped the monster with a monster left hook. The interesting thing about that, my peoples, is that Cardenas dropped Inoue with the same left hook that he got dropped before his last fight or previous to that one. Kyle, it's late for me. I have to go. Catch up soon. My brother Kyle, you already know it, man. See you later. Chris Fontaine, good night. Great fight from both. The J. Roos Theory. What's up, Jay? What's up, my brother? If somebody could tell me Cardenas' first name, that he just fought Naoya Inoue, what is his first name? But listen, my peoples, the monster showed why he's a monster. I first want to address the part where he got dropped. Because we have this thing now where if a fighter get dropped, right away people start saying, nah, he's chinny, and he can't take a shot, and he can't. Listen, y'all got to stop that, my peoples. Anybody can get dropped. If you get hit with the right shot, you could get dropped for many different reasons. It don't mean that you're chinny or that you can't take a shot. You could simply be standing wrong, your feet not set, off balance, boom, you get hit, you get dropped. You could be stepping in and literally have one foot in the air as you step in and get hit and lose your footing and get dropped and get right back up. Being dropped does not mean that a guy cannot take a shot, man. People got to stop saying that. Now, yeah, it been dropped a couple of times, came back and knocked those same people out. So one thing to always understand, my people, the monster is like 5 feet 3 inches tall. He's a short guy. He's a small guy. And you see the type of fighter that he is, an aggressive fighter. And he has to get on the inside on his opponents, who are usually going to be taller than him. So every once in a while, in order to be aggressive, he's going to eat a big shot. But you see the results. Instead of saying, he's chinny because he got dropped. How about, damn, this guy's a warrior. He got dropped, got up and knocked his opponent out. Look at that perspective. William Allen, Floyd never got dropped. So what do you think, William, that the greatest of all time is the benchmark for not getting dropped? Canelo never been dropped either. So that doesn't mean that most fighters don't get dropped or it can happen. The fact that Floyd didn't get dropped, that doesn't mean shit. It literally don't mean shit, my brother. Wes, speaking of Monster, when is the next Inoue fight? I'm not sure yet. Salute, family. Salute, my brother. L.I. Flim, I can't read that name, my brother, but salute to you too. LB Marshall. Que lo que, my peeps. The Future Boxing Channel. Salute. Ramon Diaz, the monster. Salute, my brother. Love you, bro. I swear, no diddy. Appreciate it, my guy. Appreciate it. You already know, man. Box Center is headed for #1. I know I just got like 1,200 subscribers. We headed for 2,000. But it's the inevitable, my peoples. This is going to be the #1 boxing channel. There's no getting around that. LB Marshall. Look how Trinidad got dropped and came back strong. Yo, Trinidad got dropped multiple times. Manny Pacquiao got dropped multiple times. He's one of the greatest of all time. West, Zab got dropped. Zab dropped Floyd. He dropped Floyd, but they didn't make it an official knockdown. But he did drop him. Chris Fontaine. It was like Inoue need that knockdown to turn him up. Now listen. Cardenas is a very good fighter. Hard puncher. Fast. And he let them hands fly. If you notice, every time now Inoue closed that gap, he was trying to catch him with that monster left hook. And eventually he caught him and dropped him with it. Raw Dog. Floyd glove touched canvas after Zab hit him. Knockdown, not called. Yeah, that should have been a knockdown. But, sometimes the bigger star is going to get preferential treatment. We saw Tank Davis whole knee touch the ground and he didn't get a count either. It's going to happen sometimes. Wes. Yeah, if your glove touches the canvas, it's a knockdown. They just didn't call it when Zab dropped Floyd. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Sometimes, the superstar is going to get preferential treatment. In that case, Floyd definitely got it. Because that should have been a knockdown. But in reality, even if they would have scored it a knockdown, Floyd Mayweather would have won that fight. Floyd would have won anyways. He took over after that. JJ Sendejas, Floyd would have got dropped by Mosley, but he held for dear life. Yeah, he ate a big shot from Mosley. It was a right hand. Boom. Caught him flush. There is no way, bro. All your videos don't got that much views and likes. But the videos you made about Bakoli is Ajagba. All of them got a lot of views and likes and comments. Go check them. Yeah, sometimes that happens. I think, that video kind of caught on into the algorithm and one of them 6,000 people watched it. The other one like 9,000 people. Sometimes that happens. But, I've done videos before where it's about a fighter from Africa and a lot of people watch it. It seems like, folks from Africa, specifically those two videos, they share them around and a lot of views from Africa came in. Love more Hinduism. How about William Skull? Man, I was just talking about William Skull. He's a disappointment. He did exactly the same thing Jermel Charlo did, Edgar Berlanga did, and is he went there to survive. He was fighting to not get knocked out. That's all I saw. You got to keep making videos about Bakoli versus a Jagba, bro. I actually got another one that I'll be uploading later tonight. I got another video on them. Wes, have a good day, brother. You too, my G. I appreciate you dropping in. Ramirez, JSmiff, Mio. Do you see how Tank and Inoue are basically 5'5", the same height? Only different, Tank is 135 and Inoue 122, not 126. It just showed how much of a dog being able to hold his own. Nah, bro, Inoue is not 5'5". Inoue is like 5'3". And I think some places he's listed as 5'4". But he's definitely not 5'5". Eddie Hunt confirms Jake versus Tank. Yeah, I seen that. We're going to get Jake versus Tank, I think, in November. Ramirez, at 135 weight class, being the smallest there, you got to give credit, bro. JJ said that Haskell wanted just a paycheck and nothing else. I mean, that's what it looked like. That's what Skull was there for, to survive. He got the moral victory. Like, hey, I didn't get knocked out by Canelo. Ramirez. Well, they say the same for Tank, bro. Ramirez, 5'5". Tank is 5'5". Now, all y'all know is 5'3". Love more Hinduism. This weekend was a disappointment. Shaking my head. You know, a lot of fights didn't play out the way we thought they would. Devin Haney versus Jose Ramirez. People calling that a snooze fest. William Skull versus Canelo Alvarez. That was a disappointing fight to watch, with Skull just running around all night long. But the Monster versus Cardenas, that was a heck of a fight, my guy. Those two went at it, bombs away. Ramirez, why no streams para hablar bien mío? What you mean para hablar bien, my brother? I don't know what you mean by that. Jake will kick Tank. The size and power difference is crazy. Jake will kill him, I swear. Nah. He won't, my brother. Jake has a lot of size difference, but Tank has a lot of skills difference. A lot. You know, skills-wise, Jake is here, Tank is up there. So, Tank is going to smoke him. Ramirez, I wonder how people calling it trash, but they say that was boxing. I mean, I felt like, you know, some of the fights were disappointing because we thought we were going to get more action, but at the end of the day, fighters got to do what they got to do to win. Devin Haney did what he had to do to win. William Skull did what he had to do to survive. That I didn't like. JJ Sender has the Monster is 5'5", and his reach is 67.5. Look it up, guys. Love more Hinduism. Round versus Rolly was boring too. I thought Round versus Rolly was okay. I think part of the reason why you may have found it boring is because once Ryan Garcia got dropped, he stopped letting his hands go. Once he got dropped, he became more, I have to say, gunshot. And it was more Rolly trying to land those shots on him. And then you will see Ryan looking like he was going to chase Rolly around, but not really doing much. I thought it was a good fight. I think Ryan could have and should have done more. Obviously, he lost. But I thought it was a good fight. Ramirez. But you know it was the best fight. Why? Because they was throwing them things, man. We want fighters with elite boxing skills, not boxers that run like a motherfucker. I mean, it's like I said, my brother, that was one of the most exciting fights this weekend. Because you have to remember, styles make fights. Now, yeah, you know it's not a runner. It's not a guy who's going to use a lot of footwork to keep the distance between his opponents and himself. He's a guy that he's going to stand in there with you and trade with you. you know. But you need your, for it to be that type of fight, you need your opponent to cooperate. William Skull did not cooperate with Canelo Alvarez. He just didn't. So, there is that knock on Canelo that he just don't have that footwork. So he couldn't cut the ring on William Skull. He was kind of like just chasing him around all night long. So that's a knock on Canelo. Not only a knock on Canelo, but it tells future opponents something that you're able to do. You're able to use your footwork effectively and keep him from doing what he wants to do, because he just doesn't have. And look, Oscar De La Hoya said this years back. Oscar De La Hoya said Canelo, he's like somebody who's walking on quicksand. He don't have footwork. So let's see how it's gonna play out when he fights Terrence Crawford. You gotta see it. Ramirez, pero mío. No, bro. Devin Shakur wants to be pay-per-view star. They will not be pay-per-view with those performances. You gotta take and give punches. Sorry, but that's what the Grays did. Like Duran, good. Well, Floyd didn't do that, my brother. Everything that they say about Shakur Stevenson, they used to say it about Floyd. Everything. And look, Floyd became the face of boxing. Tank versus Inoue. Who you got? I don't think that fight's gonna happen. Inoue's too small for Tank. Ramirez, like Floyd, they want to be Floyd, but Floyd a dog. They don't really watch Floyd. Bro, I'm going to remind you something. And you can look at the posts, you can look at the memes, because the internet keep receipts. There was an entire fan base saying Floyd runs too much. Floyd is too boring. Floyd is too defensive. There's memes of Forrest Gump running and it got Floyd's head on it. Of a track star running and it got Floyd's head on it. So Floyd had a reputation amongst entire fan bases that he was a runner, that he was boring, that he put people to sleep. Come on now. That he was too defensive. You see how you pinpointing certain opponents for Floyd Mayweather? Well, go watch Shakur Stevenson versus Oscar Valdez. Go watch Shakur Stevenson versus Jamel Herring and see if he was running or what fight he was doing. So the bottom line is Floyd had a reputation for being boring. Floyd had a reputation for being pillow hands. Floyd had a reputation for running. But at the end of the day, that was just the haters. He ended up being the face of boxing anyways. Ramirez, let's set up a stream, brother, and let's talk and have boxing talk, texting sometimes. Yeah, we could do that. We could definitely get it done, my guy. Elias Montenegro, friend, send me a greeting. Okay, do you want to talk boxing, Elias? Or are we talking boxing, my brother? Ramirez, it's hard. I just named you a lot of fights and could say more. I mean, I know that you could say more, but I can also name you a lot of fights and can say more where Floyd wasn't doing the things that you're talking about. There's fights where Floyd was also running around and being super defensively. King Nidish. Because if you say Devin Haney, look, did you see Devin Haney with Regis Prograis? Devin Haney beat the shit out of Regis Prograis. You didn't see him running. But that's what happened, my brother. That people take these fights. Look at Shakur. Now when they talk about Shakur, the only thing that they want to bring up is the De Los Santos fight. Why are we only bringing up that fight? Are we forgetting the other fights he had where he banged it out with his opponents? King Nidish, it's 4 a.m. I'm going to go for a run, my brother. Stay hard. Oh, shit. Handle that, my brother. My run, it's at night right here. I go running early in the morning as well. Enjoy your run. See you tomorrow. Ramirez, I sent you a lot of fights above that was better. Look up, brother. No, I agree with you, my guy. Those are all fights that I've seen. But my point is that Floyd made a reputation of being a runner, boring, because he also had fights that he didn't do the things that you're pointing out. Floyd versus Shane Mosley, better than any fight Shakur and Devin had. And that wasn't even Floyd at his best. Again, Now you're getting into opinion, my brother. What fight is better? What fight is better? Did you see Shakur Stevenson versus Oscar Valdez? Did you see Devin Haney versus Regis Prograis? Those were great fights, and neither one of them was running in those fights, my brother. So when I'm showing you that they wasn't running, now you're saying, yeah, but this one was better. This fight was better than those. The word better, remember, my brother, it's all about opinion. You're saying it's better. I respect that. But that's just an opinion. But it's a fact that Devin and Shakur was not running in those fights. So you can find fights where none of these three guys were running, and you can find fights where you can say all three of them was running. But everything that's being said about Shakur and Devin used to be said about Floyd too. The same way. Ramirez, Oscar Valdez beat a flat-footed Burchell. Shane Mosley career better than Shakur. Oh man, damn brother. You see now you taking the hater route because why you comparing careers? First you started saying that they run. I showed you that they don't run on every fight. And now you're saying that this career is better of this guy of that guy. What does that have to do with them not running on every fight like you said, my brother? It's like you start attacking this, and when I show you that this is not true, you start attacking something else. Oh, damn, he didn't run on that fight, but Mosley's better than him, and this guy's better than that. Now you're just arguing about opinion, my brother. But I'm showing you that these guys don't run in all their fights, just like Floyd didn't fight in all his fights. Ramirez, mind you, brother, Devin brought Shane Mosley to the Ramirez camp. I seen that. I seen that. And look, Shane Mosley is an all-time great. You're a great fighter. JJ said that Shakur had a good fight against Valdez, and I thought Valdez was going to win. But Shakur made him look bad and slow. Yo, Shakur Stevenson made Oscar Valdez look like an amateur, like a B-level fighter. And to show you how good Shakur Stevenson is, after he made it look easy against Oscar Valdez, Valdez went on to win another title. When you beat a champion and they win a title after that, that shows what type of opponent you beat. That shows how good the guy you beat is. That you beat him and he was still able to become a champion once again after you beat him. Those wins are always big. If you dethrone a champion and he becomes champion again afterwards, that's a big win. Every fighter don't got one of those. Ramirez, I'm just playing, brother. But realistically, though, Shane is a great fighter, and his resume alone speaks against Shakur and Devin's opponents. I know, my brother, but why are you comparing Shane Mosley against the opponents that these guys have faced? Why are you making that comparison? That's not fair. And I'm going to tell you why that's not fair to make that comparison. Do you see anybody of Shane Mosley caliber trying to fight Shakur Stevenson right now? Do you not see Tank Davis ducking him? Teofimo ducking him? Do you not see Devin Haney blatantly duck him at 135? So it's not fair for you to say, well, Shane Mosley was better than these guys' opponents because people wanted to fight Floyd. Floyd could fight whoever he wanted because everybody wanted to fight him. Nobody want to fight Shakur. So it's not fair for you to compare the opponents of a guy everybody want to fight versus the opponents of a guy nobody want to fight. Nobody want to fight him. He can only fight the people that's willing to. JJ said that. Remember, everyone there is leaves in boxing. There's levels. There's levels in boxing. That's a fact. Love more Hinduism. You think Ryan was off the juice? I mean, there's nothing to lead me to think that he was on the juice in the first place. That's something that never even crossed my mind. Ramirez, I said Shane because I feel Shane was the smallest but great name in Floyd's resume. I mean, Shane is a Hall of Famer, bro. Shane is a Hall of Famer. Sugar Shane Mosley is one of the best fighters of his era. And he's without a doubt an all-time great. But that's what I'm saying. Floyd Mayweather, it was easy for him to get opponents because people wanted to fight him. People genuinely felt like they could beat Floyd. They don't even believe they could beat Shakur, yo. They don't want to fight him. They just don't want it. Ramirez. But do you see when I said Shakur spare Lamont for the Car Valdez fight? Spared Lamont for the Car Valdez fight? I don't know what you mean, my brother. You gotta rephrase that. I don't know if maybe something is misspelled. Or sparred Lamont. Lamont Roach, you mean? Love more Hinduism. Ron looked less muscular. And you gotta understand, my brother, he's fighting at a higher weight. The more weight you gain, the less cut up you're gonna look. You moving up, you weight more. So that really doesn't tell me anything. JJ's in the house. Floyd was not the boogeyman. Go up a couple of comments I said. So JJ's in the house. Floyd was not the boogeyman. You're right. People felt like they could beat Floyd Mayweather. A lot of people wanted to fight him. They felt like they had him. Ramirez, mind you, who Shakur used for the Oscar Valdez fight? Lamont Roach, a fighter that Tank fought Shakur, said he sparred Lamont endless rounds, brother. So that shows how good Lamont was also. Damn, bro, it's like you coming kind of like out of nowhere. I never said Lamont Roach wasn't good, my guy. In fact, I actually got Lamont Roach beating Tank on the rematch. Michael Walker, what up, JSmiff? Been a minute, man. How you been? How you doing, my brother? Appreciate you dropping in. I'm doing good. Enjoyed an amazing weekend of boxing. We had Ryan Garcia, Teofimo Lopez, Devin Haney on Friday. Saturday, we had Canelo Alvarez. Sunday, we had the monster, Naoya Inoue. So this whole weekend was crazy. Some disappointing fights. Rolly's Romero upset Ryan Garcia. A lot is going down. Pancho Villa, salute fam. What it do? Canelo is officially declined. A 2021 Canelo would have knocked out Skull. I mean, come on, my brother. Skull was never there to be knocked out. That footwork, he was all over the ring. Canelo, the one thing I will say about Canelo is that he could have done a better job of cutting off the ring. But we've always known that Canelo doesn't have the best footwork. We've always known that. Yo, Oscar De La Hoya is on record as saying Canelo is like somebody who's on quicksand. So if you got a fighter who's going to be hopping left, hopping right, moving back, real tall, a long jab that wasn't even hitting Canelo just to keep him at a distance, bam, bam, throwing a long jab that wasn't even there to hit him, and moving to the left and to the right, faking to the right, moving to the left. Yo, the guy was not there to fight. One thing I could tell you, my peoples, it's very hard to knock out an opponent who's there to survive, who's there to try not to get knocked out. It's hard because he's not trying to win. He's just focusing on defending himself. Jermel Charlo, Edgar Berlanga, and now William Skull. All three of them dudes was there to survive, my people. They was all there to survive. Ramirez, but why beating Tank? I mean, I got Lamont Roach beating Tank because of what I saw in the first fight. If you saw the way that they fought, Lamont Roach didn't go the distance with Tank by running or by fighting defensively. He was walking Tank down for 12 rounds. And when Tank stopped, he stood his ground with him and traded blows and won a lot of exchanges. So I feel like Lamont Roach may actually have his number. Pancho Villa, I got Crawford Canelo, a 50-50 fight. That's a 50-50 fight. I got Terrence Crawford winning by unanimous decision. Love more Hinduism. Munguia is trash. I don't believe so. I don't believe so. In no way, shape, or form would I say Munguia is trash. And by the way, I think that Munguia showed us that he's not trash. And here's why. He got stopped. He got beat up by Bruno Sarasi. Beat up. And what did he do? What a warrior does. Took an immediate rematch versus the guy who just stopped him and beat him. Beat him up too. You saw the adjustments that he made. He was not going to allow Sarasi to outwork him. He didn't let him operate. You saw in this fight, Saras was very hesitant because Munguia was letting them hands go. And he had a sustained attack to the body. A nice stiff jab. Yo, Munguia did his thing. Did his thing, my brother. JJ Zendejas. Munguia is good. He changed his game plan and won in good fashion. Yo, Munguia won in beautiful fashion. Love more Hinduism. Skull was complaining about low blows. Man, listen, Skull was not there to win. He was there to survive, get a moral victory, say, hey, look, I went the distance with Canelo and didn't get knocked out. He got a moral victory, got a nice check too. He was not there to win. Keston Luke agreed. Pancho Villa, Roche not only wins, but he knocks him out. I don't want to say that he's going to knock Tank Davis out. Because one thing we know about Tank, he can take a shot. Tank Davis has been hit with some big shots from Rollies, from Ryan, guys who hit harder than Lamar Roach. And he wasn't even wobbled. Wasn't even wobbled. So I don't think Lamar Roach is going to knock Tank Davis out, but I think he could outbox him. Aris was not easy, but he was ready. Shaggy, happy Tuesday, my G. What's good? What's the deal, my brother? Yo, man, we had a great weekend of boxing. A lot of good fights. Some disappointing fights. If you saw William Skull versus Canelo, it's like, eh. If you saw Devin Haney versus Jose Ramirez, eh. But, you know what? Devin Haney, I give him a pass for that fight. And you know why? Because he took some nasty punishment from Ryan Garcia, my people. Ryan Garcia beat him up. So, you don't want to go out there and take a beating in back-to-back fights. He fought a very defensive fight, a lot of movement, stayed away from engaging in fisticuffs, getting into a fight, boxed all night, did what he had to do to not absorb punishment. He didn't take no punishment because of how he fought. So I give him a pass for that. I get so much happy when I see my family, JSmiff, getting the recognition he deserved. I got so happy when I see the views, likes, comments up. I swear, coming from my heart. Appreciate it, my brother. And we're going to keep going hard. We're going to keep going hard. Like I told you, Box Center is going to be the #1 boxing show. And by the way, you guys may have seen some videos where Hector Camacho Jr. was here in the Dominican Republic. I was hanging out with him for a week. Did some great content. But he's going to be back in July. There's going to be some exhibition fights here in Dominican Republic. He's going to be the main event on that show. And y'all boy JSmiff is going to be in the exhibition fight too. So y'all going to see me throwing leather. Y'all going to see me fighting. It's an exhibition fight, but you know we're going to be throwing hands up in there. Oh, I'm going to enjoy that for sure. Muhammad Hope, best fighter in boxing all time, Muhammad Ali. You can make an argument for that. That's a good option. That's a good option. That's a good pick. I think best ever, it could be Muhammad Ali. It could be Floyd Mayweather. It could be Manny Pacquiao. It could be Sugar Ray Leonard. It could be Marvelous Marvin Hagler. There's a list of fighters that you can put them at #1 and make a very good argument for that. So, Muhammad Ali is definitely one of those fighters. Now, I got to say, my peoples, we had a crazy weekend of boxing, a lot of fights. But we got some fights coming up. Got some real good fights coming up. And one of my favorite cards coming up is that car Shakur Stevenson's gonna be on. Shakur Stevenson is gonna finally fight William Zepeda, but on that same card, we're gonna get Puello, the Dominican champion, who's gonna defend his title versus Subriel Matias. We got Edgar Berlanga, who's going to fight Hamza Shiraz. And I've been telling people, look, I'm not gonna say Berlanga is garbage. I wouldn't say that. But what I will say that I haven't been high on Edgar Berlanga for quite some time because he has some performances that to me are questionable. And he fought Canelo Alvarez to survive. I did not like that. When I see a fighter get in the ring and just try to survive, try to make it the distance, I'm like, you don't have that. You don't have that it factor. Well, now Berlanga is going to fight Hamza Shiraz. Hamza Shiraz can fight. Tall fighter, long reach, fast hands, good footwork. Edgar Berlanga is going to have his hands full. If he can beat Hamza Shiraz, I'm back on the Edgar Berlanga bandwagon. I want to see him beat Hamza Shiraz. Because sometimes I feel like Edgar Berlanga is nowhere near as good as he thinks he is. I think he's a good fighter, not a great fighter, based off of how he fought Canelo Alvarez. I think we all agree with that. The best ever is Muhammad Ali. He's the perfect athlete. I mean, there's a good argument to make for Ali, but I think there's also a very good argument to make for Floyd Mayweather. There's a good argument to make for Manny Pacquiao. There's a good argument to make for Sugar Ray Leonard. So there's a few fighters out there that you can make a very good argument as to why they're the greatest of all time. Pancho Villa. Fam, how do you feel about Crawford's last fight? I mean, I felt like it was a very good fight. It was a very competitive fight. And ultimately, Crawford did whatever he had to do to win. One thing that I always take into consideration, styles make fights. So one fight with one opponent tells us absolutely nothing about what's going to happen with another opponent. Absolutely nothing. That's just that one fight with those two fighters. Muhammad Hope, fighter in Iran. Isha Runzbar. Like, I don't know who that is, my brother. JSmiff built the perfect boxer. Jab, defense, chin, footwork, IQ. I mean, if you want to... Well, I would take Larry Holmes' jab. I would take Floyd Mayweather's ring IQ. I would take Mike Tyson's power. I would take Canelo's body punching. And there you have it right there. Cito. Canelo head and neck was big compared to Bud when they stand face to face. He had a big ass head, but he didn't look big himself. He's not going to be punching him with the head and with the face. Punisher. JSmiff, what's up? And how confident are you Crawford beats Canelo? Will you bet big money? It type of confident? Well, I never bet big money. I'm not a gambling addict or anything like that. I never bet big money. I'm not somebody who's trying to come up on my bets. So no, I'm not gonna bet big. I can bet like $100, $200. That's about it. Lomachenko has the best footwork in boxing ever. You agree with that? I mean, when we say ever, it's hard to say that. Lomachenko, I say we could put him up there amongst the best. But best ever, that's always going to boil down to an opinion. I say Lomachenko, Shakur Stevenson, Floyd Mayweather, Sugar Ray Leonard, and many others that you can make an argument that they have the best footwork ever. JJ's in there. Emilio Vargas did good this weekend and moving forward up the list. So I miss Emilio Vargas's fight, but I will say because of the other fights that were going down, but I will say I am a fan of Fernando Vargas and his sons. Emilio Vargas is a top-notch prospect, and I believe that he's gonna climb up the rankings, and he should get a title shot soon. The guy can fight, and Fernando Vargas is doing an amazing job with his kids. That's for sure. I gotta ask, 100 men versus one gorilla. Who JSmiff got? Man, listen, that gorilla's gonna beat all them niggas up badly. Because you think about 100 men, but 100 men won't have the space to all hit the gorilla at the same time. It's only gonna be like 20, 15 that can actually surround them. Those 15 are gonna get swept. Vroom. Get out of here. Then the next 15 or 20. Vroom. So I think they all getting beat up. All of them. All 100 of them getting beat up. Cito, Crawford said he ain't gonna run, but unfortunately, the last person that didn't run was Bivol and Triple G. Listen, Bivol used that footwork. Bivol used that footwork on Canelo. And Bivol had his back up against the ropes a lot of times during that fight. It's just that his lateral movement was off the charts. And Bivol used his height, his reach, and his footwork to render Canelo's body punching almost irrelevant. Don't forget Ali's footwork. Ali is one of the best heavyweight footwork of all time. Ali could arguably be the best heavyweight footwork of all time. And I'm saying heavyweight because his division. But overall, if you compare with anybody, Ali's footwork was amazing. Aris, top 5 for sure, Loma. Pierre Oliver, do you think it's a gift to have a chin like Canelo? I mean, sometimes, I'm going to tell you something, my brother, and this could be controversial. Sometimes the chin is overrated. It's not as much about the chin, about the defensive skills a lot of the times. And this is what I mean by that. Canelo's a guy he's always been very good at rolling with the punches that catch him. So you hit him, right? And he does this with his head. And he pushes his own head back. He's very good with that. So is it the chin, or is it how good he is at actually taking punches or bracing himself when he take a punch? Canelo's a guy who he's so good, he's so aware that he doesn't get hit with that shot that you don't see coming. And those are the shots that sleep you. If you watch the shot that Tank Davis called Leo Santa Cruz with, that he called Rollies with, that he called Frank the Ghost Martin with, is that shot that you don't see coming. Boom! That sleeps you. So Canelo is not just that he has a strong chin. Don't get it twisted. He has a very strong chin. But he's also very good defensively to the point where he doesn't get hit with shots he doesn't see coming. The Mexican G, a few weeks ago, I was sure Canelo would beat Crawford easy. Now I think it's a real 50-50. You can have good defense and weak chin and still don't get knocked out. Take Floyd as an example. I mean, but what are you saying, that Floyd had a weak chin? Pierre Oliver, yeah, but Canelo got clipped bad by Triple G and take it all night. No, so look, like I said, Canelo has a chin on him, but also it's how he takes punches. Canelo's awareness in the ring allows him to always be ready to take those punches. And it's the punches that you don't see coming that hurt the most. Canelo doesn't eat those punches. You don't see Canelo taking shots like that. Cito, not happy with Canelo performance, but for sure, he ain't tried. Yo, William Score was there to run. He wasn't there to fight. Canelo couldn't. The only knock on Canelo for this fight is that he couldn't cut the ring off to save his life. He was chasing him around all night. But you can't fight a guy who won't stand in front of you. Shaggy, a punch on a gorilla ain't even gonna tickle him. You ain't even gonna tickle the gorilla. The gorilla. The Mexican G. Floyd had a good chin. Hell yeah, Floyd had a good chin. He ate some good shots throughout his career. Some monster shots. So hell yeah, he had a good chin. The Mexican G. He took a flush shot from Shane Mosley and recovered and dominated the fight. He also took a flush shot from Zab Judah. And he took a nasty shot. Probably the hardest shot he took in his career was from Marcos Maidana. And he's lucky that he took that shot and the round ended right there. He actually went stumbling back to his corner. He never took a shot like that in his whole career. Pierre, I hope we never see Skull ever again. I mean, I wouldn't say that, my brother, because he fought Canelo like that. Every one of his fights is not like that. He fought Canelo like that because he was trying to survive. But you could see him in another fight, and you could see him going to war with somebody else trying to knock their heads off. Cito. But he never fought 168 Pro. Bro, in a way, struggled with Madrimov. Yeah, but styles make fights. Madrimov has a lot of head movement, a lot of footwork, something Canelo don't have. And that's the thing. When you say he never fought at 168, that really doesn't matter, my brother. I want you to understand that Canelo is a small 168 pounder. Canelo's a guy who started his career at 147 and kept moving up and is having success at 168 because how skilled he is. Kind of like Manny Pacquiao at 147 was a very small 147 pounder, and everybody he fought at welterweight was bigger than him. The same thing with Canelo. Everybody he fights at 168 is bigger than him. So it's not just that Crawford is moving up to 168. Bro, he's moving up to 168 to fight a small 168 pounder that is shorter than him and has less reach. Take that into consideration, my brother. It's not just the weight classes, it's the size. And by the way, Madrimov is bigger than Canelo. Madrimov bigger than Canelo. And I mean, he's in a lower division, but I'm saying size-wise, if you measure him, he's bigger. The Mexican G, I remember that. Marcos Maidana caught him on the bell. Yo, flush. And listen, what Marcos Maidana did, nobody was ever able to do that successfully on Floyd. Remember that Floyd, he would pull back and counter you with the right hand. Like when you shoot the jab, Floyd would do this. Boom. Boom. And catch you with the right hand. Well, with Maidana, he tried that. But as he was coming forward, Maidana fooled him. He didn't just throw a jab. He threw the jab and then threw that overhand right hand that he throws. So while Floyd was coming forward to counterpunch, the way he normally does, Floyd does this, right? Boom. Boom. When he was coming forward to hit him with the right, he literally ran into Maidana's right hand. So Floyd went like that. Boom! And right there, the bell went off. Yo, Floyd literally went like that, stumbling to his corner. Hardest shot Floyd ever ate his whole career. If that would have happened with like a minute to go into the round, Maidana may have knocked him out. If you see when that happened, Floyd was out of it. Walking to his corner dazed. But the round ended. He showed why he's great. Was able to get his composure back in that 1 minute. Came back, outboxed Maidana going forward. Skull was there for a payday. That's a fact, my brother. Pierre, Inoue versus Nakatani going to pack a stadium bad if it happens. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. The Mexican G. Madrimov is a good fighter, but he has an amateur style. His style is very textbook. Love more Hinduism. Canelo resume way better than Bud. I don't know. There's no point in comparing resume, my brother. There's literally no point in comparing resume. When two guys are going to fight each other, comparing resume is meaningless. That don't mean anything, my God. JJ's in the house. I have to go, JSmiff. God bless you and everyone on the live stream. Take care. Appreciate you dropping in, my brother. You already know. Have a good one. Bam. Maidana, so underrated. That's a fact, man. Maidana was a very good fighter. Very good fighter. And you know what? Floyd had to give him a rematch because a lot of people felt he won that first fight. A lot of people felt he won that first fight. And we saw Adrian Broner was never the same after Marco Maidana put the beats on him. Broner was never the same. The Mexican G, Canelo definitely has a better resume than Crawford, but he looked ancient on Saturday. It's a close fight. The Ill Will, salute peeps. The Ill Will, what's the deal, my brother? Appreciate you dropping in. Pierre Oliver, Opetaya versus Surdo, a good fight to make too. I like that fight. Yo, Jay Opetaya is for real. He's for real, man. I've been paying attention to him. I've been watching him, following him, and he's for real. I like his style of boxing. I like his aggressiveness, and I think him and Surdo would be fireworks. I love that fight. Love more Hinduism. Rob Garcia said Chino didn't love boxing. Too bad. You know, Chino Maidana, he could have done more. But he made so much money with Floyd Mayweather that he chose to retire with that second fight. The Mexican G, Broner should have never took that fight. It was all downhill after that fight. Well, to be honest, it wasn't that fight. Of course, that was his first loss. But his personal life was already going downhill prior to that fight. He was already, letting the money get to his head, talking about billionaire and about the billions and all this other shit, partying, drinking, smoking. He was getting out of hand already. Now, when he took that loss going forward, it just showed that he was messed up in the game as far as his personal life. But he was going downhill whether he fought Maidana or not. Pierre Oliver, Opetaya is lethal. I agree with you. He got some nasty power in both hands. He's an aggressive fighter. He's gonna apply that pressure. I enjoy watching Jay Opetaya. The Mexican G, Chino retired after the Mayweather fight. Dude blew up like a balloon. Yo, that's it. He got those millions of dollars. He stopped training. And look, that's the thing about some fighters, that they live a lifestyle where you put, I don't know exactly how much money he made off of Floyd, right? But I'm gonna just throw a number out there. There's some fighters out there that you put $10 million in this guy's hand and he could retire for the rest of his life, never work again, and he's gonna be good forever. Generational wealth. Why? Because these guys not gonna go with his $10 million and buy a Ferrari, a Lamborghini, a iced out chain, 4 iced out watches, and be broke within a couple of years. No, 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 no. With those millions of dollars, Chino Maidana went to Mexico, built a big ass mansion that you could build that shit in Mexico for like probably $400,000. A mega mansion, an estate. Bought himself a couple of trucks, $40,000, $50,000, and everything. It doesn't have a crazy jewelry collection, none of that shit. Maybe one chain, one watch. And people like that have money for the rest of their lives, because they not trying to live that lifestyle where they constantly trying to show people, look at my new car, look at my new chain, look at my new Gucci stuff and my new Versace. Nah, they don't live like that. If I made 100 million from a fight, I'll never fight or work out again in my life. Yo, my Dana never went back to the gym ever after that. The Mexican G, even if you're not a fighter, you should still exercise. I agree with you 100%, my brother. Charles Mills, Shakur hasn't made more than 500K. Why you think that is? I don't know where you got that from. I'm almost sure that he's made more than that. I think he made a couple $1 million for his last fight. I don't know where you got that number from, my guy. Love more Hinduism, Argentina. Ooh, Argentina has produced some top level fighters. Like Charles Mills, Shakur Stevenson offered Frank the Ghost Martin $1 million to fight him. Frank Martin declined that offer. Do you think that Shakur was offering him 1 million, but he was gonna make less than that? I don't know, my brother. It looked like somebody lied to you about how much money Shakur be making. Pierre Oliver, Bakram got the same treatment that Triple G had in his prime. Gonna get avoided at all costs. Yo, Bakram can fight. He can fight. He gotta, see what the thing is. Once people start avoiding your name, you have to, be able to make yourself a star. You have to find a way to make yourself a star. Because once that happens, then people want to fight you because they're gonna get the bag. The Mexican G Shakur probably made like 5 million. Yo, Shakur's made millions of dollars for all his last fights. I don't know where my brother got 500K from. Like, who? Charles Mills, who lied to you? Tell me who told you that so I could call him a liar. Did you saw the interaction of Shakur with the YouTube boxing guy? They were pushing each other and was about to fight. I didn't see that, my brother. I didn't see it. I'm gonna look it up. I gotta talk about that. I gotta address that. The Mexican G Shakur is kind of boring, but he's definitely making millions. Yeah, Shakur been making millions of dollars, man. Been making millions. Pierre, okay, but if you're background, what do you do? I mean, I think background has to be active on social media, calling out all the big names, trying to make the big fights with everybody, and just letting himself be seen. That's part of it. And of course, keep beating whoever they put in front of him. Cito, Bud got that bag of his life fighting Canelo. I just hope they make it entertaining after all this hype. All respect to Bud for chasing greatness, but he could most definitely be undisputed at 154, 160. You're talking about he could be undisputed at 154, 160, but you got to take this into consideration. Crawford at 37 years old doesn't have that many fights left. If he's going to try to go for undisputed at 154, then that means he could forget about Canelo Alvarez because he's going to have to collect all the belts. Like, you saying that he could be undisputed at 154 and 160, like Crawford is 26 years old, my guy. He's 37. He would have to fight the champions to collect the belts at 154 and then do the same at 160. That doesn't make any sense at 37 years old, bro. That doesn't make any. And then none of those fights are going to be as big as him fighting Canelo at 168. As big historical wise or title wise. With that one fight, he could become undisputed. How are you going to say, nah, stay at 154 collecting belts? See how many years you're going to take to become undisputed at 154, or how many years it could take to become undisputed at 160. Come on, bro. Pierre, Virgil ducked him bad. Yeah, that's a fact. Virgil didn't want that smoke. Cito, he pushing 40, so he gotta go out with a bang. Yo, 37 years old. I wouldn't say 37 years old is pushing 40 because you're 3 years away, but still, that's the tail end of your career. If you're planning on retiring soon, you can't try to chase undisputed at 154 and undisputed at 160 to then see if you could get the biggest fight in boxing, which is Canelo Alvarez. The ill will fighters been avoiding Blair Cobbs for a while. And Blair the Flair is a guy. See, I think the problem with Blair is that he doesn't have a manager. He's not signed to a promotional company. And when you stay a free agent, it's tough. It's tough to get those big fights. Blair the Flair, he's a great entertainer. It's fun to watch his fights, action packed, does his thing in the ring. But as a free agent, he's not a big star. So he doesn't have a team like these other guys promoting and getting their fights for them. Blair the Flair needs to go with Top Rank, or go with the Zone, or go with Queensbury, go with one of the big companies to get those fights. Look up Look up Dean the Great. Shakur Stevenson, if you have another phone, it was intense interaction. Okay, Dean the Great. Oh man, he a YouTuber that be trying to act like a boxer. He probably got on Shakur's nerves. I'm gonna look it up. I can't do it right now because I'm using my other phone for something. But I'm gonna look that up. Dean the Great. That's a guy that's just looking for attention, man. I see him. That's like a little YouTuber that boxes trying to get attention of for real boxers. All of these guys will smoke him easily. Cito, facts, facts. But after his fight with Canelo, he can at least be undisputed at 154. In 2 years, he can do it. So you're saying that he could be undisputed by 39 years old. Now, Terrence Crawford, who might become undisputed in the third division, one of the most accomplished fighters of this era, a win over Canelo Alvarez. Do you think he's going to go back down to 154 to try to collect titles? I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I don't see that happening. Pierre Oliver, those Russian dudes are not Tweederson. It's for them to promote themselves. Pierre, hard. Cito. Hey, Virgil nice though. Virgil's nice. Virgil is a special fighter. I think the mega fight for, maybe a couple of years from now is going to be Virgil Ortiz and Jerome Boots Ennis. Lindgren, would you rather to gain muscle or gain eagers? Would you rather to gain muscle with Canelo Alvarez or gain eagers? I don't know. I don't know what you're asking, man. I don't understand that question. Dean the Great can fight, though. He's good as well. Look, Dean the Great can fight. But he's not at the level to face any of the elite. At his level, okay, he's doing his thing, but he can't try to fight any of those guys. Dean the Great gets in the ring with anybody at that level, he's getting smoked. I see him as somebody who's more about getting attention for his YouTube channel. Pierre Oliver, I think Boots too skilled for Virgil. I mean, the thing is that you see how you feel that way? Raw Dog, did Boots duck Virgil? Nah, Boots didn't duck Virgil. Of course not. Neither one of them ducked the other. There's people who see Boots beating Virgil, and there's a lot of people also see Virgil beating Boots. So that's going to be a mega fight when it happens. I think eventually we're going to get it. Hash Bass, that's never going to happen that Canelo lose to Crawford. They say never for a reason, but we'll find out. That's it. The fight is actually going to happen in September. The Crawford haters who didn't want Crawford to have this opportunity, who didn't want Crawford to be able to make a historical winning performance, it's too late for y'all. Crawford is going to get that fight. What if Shakur gave him a chance for an exhibition fight? I mean, that doesn't even make sense, bro. Shakur's 27 years old. He's trying to make his mark in boxing. He's trying to accomplish. Why he's gonna fight this kid in an exhibition? That doesn't even make no sense. Now, if it's, I don't know, 15 years from now when they're in their 40s, let's do an exhibition. But right now, Dean the Great, he's not even famous like that. He's not even a star like that. I know he has his YouTube following and social media following, but most people, if they see a picture of Dean the Great, they don't know who the fuck that is. So it's not even worth it. He's not even worth it. Pierre, Boots versus Bud, Prime versus Prime. Who you got? I got Crawford. I got Crawford winning that fight. Raw Dog, I heard Turkey offer Boots a bag to fight Virgil, but he declined. That's one of those stories people make up out of thin air. That never happened. That never happened. And the funny part about that is that it was Virgil who could no longer make 147. He had to move up to 154. Now he moved up to 154 while Boots is trying to become undisputed at 147. So think about this. What's what's better for Boots' resume right now, in 2025? For him to try to become undisputed in the welterweight division and be one of the fighters in history, make a historical achievement, or move up to 154 where he won't be a champion, Virgil is not a champion, and fight a title eliminator with Virgil Ortiz, where he gets nothing from it. What makes more sense if you're Jaron Buchanan? Of course, what makes more sense is to stay at the welterweight division and get this accomplishment. Of course. And while he's doing that, Virgil could become a champion at 154. That way, when Jaron Buchanan moves to that division, they could face each other off for a title. That fight does not make sense right now. It doesn't. Why would you move up to fight somebody for nothing when you still got Brian Norman Jr. and Mario Barrios, who got 2 titles at the welterweight division, and Boots is definitely obviously favored to beat both of them. So I understand him wanting to become undisputed in that division, and I think that's what he should go for. Never say never. Canelo getting bullied. If he pulled the same performance against Skull, yeah, Crawford's gonna beat him. Don't be surprised if Crawford make him look bad. Cito, Bud deserved the back for sure, but I'm with Canelo and don't see Bud giving him much trouble, especially since first fight at 168, Canelo undisputed champ. Well, you're gonna find out. You're gonna find out, my brother. Pierre Oliver. After that Stanionis fight, I'm really high on Boots. When it's locked, he's lethal. Yo, Boots is a special talent. Boots is a special talent. But Virgil Ortiz is also special. He can fight. And like I told you, my brother, I believe that we're going to see Jaron Boots Ennis and Virgil Ortiz in a super fight. Hash Bass, Norman Jr. and Barrios. Brian Norman Jr. and Barrios are the other 2 champions at the welterweight division. Supposedly, don't quote me on this, but supposedly Manny Pacquiao is working on fighting Mario Barrios next. That might actually happen. I don't know if it will. I don't know if Manny Pacquiao, at damn near 50 years old, is actually going to come out of retirement and fight Mario Barrios for that title, but it may actually happen. Chris Eubank versus Canelo is going to be bloody if it happens. I don't know. Because you saw Chris Eubank Jr. using that footwork pretty effectively versus Conor Benn, and I don't know if he's gonna stand there and go toe to toe with Canelo Alvarez. I just don't know. Raw Dog. I see Madrimov give Bud fits. Canelo is twice as experienced as Madrimov, also stronger and better body attacks and better chin. I know, Raw Dog, that sounds like a good argument, but it's actually incoherent. What happened between these 2 fighters has absolutely nothing to do with what's going to happen with those 2 fighters. That's why you got to see. Let me give you an example, because you're using the triangle theory, which doesn't work. Look at Joe Frazier. Joe Frazier was the first guy to drop Muhammad Ali, the first guy to beat Muhammad Ali. And what did George Foreman do to Joe Frazier? Brutalized him, gave him a nasty beating. Yet Ali, who lost to Frazier, beat the crap out of Foreman, gave him his first loss, was the first one to beat him, and dropped him, knocked him out. So what happens, as soon as I tell you styles make fights, it renders your entire statement irrelevant, my brother. What happened between Madrimov and Crawford has absolutely nothing to do with what happens with Madrimov, with Crawford and Canelo. It doesn't. I know that's a logic you make in your head. Well, this happened with Madrimov, so I guess this was going to happen with Canelo. Boxing doesn't work that way, my brother. Styles make fights. Pierre, Virgil is like Stanionis, but a little bit bigger, think the results gonna be the same? I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, uh, Virgil is more seasoned than Stanionis. I would say that he's also faced better opponents to show his pedigree. And I believe that Virgil is better than Stanionis. Plain and simple. Rolly rejected Ben and keeps on trolling him. Who do you got, Rolly or Ben? That's an interesting fight. To be honest, I would like to see it. I would like to see Rolly's versus Ben at 147. Is it gonna happen? I don't know. We'll find out. Thank you for the 20 likes, everyone. Hell yeah, my peoples. Hit that like, subscribe, share these videos. Y'all already know. Raw dog. So Bud does better against Canelo than he did versus Madrimov. Hell yeah, of course. Of course he does better versus. I'm gonna tell you why he does better versus Canelo, my brother. Because I understand the logic. Like, well, Madrimov, and I'm gonna tell you why. Number one, we didn't know Madrimov before that fight. Most of us found out who Madrimov was in that fight. There's not as much tape on Madrimov. So that's number one. Number two, Madrimov is a guy that's not a big name, that's not famous, that's not known for beating anybody. So you cannot compare how Terence Crawford fought Madrimov versus how he's going to fight Canelo Alvarez. Crawford literally stood there at one point and took like 3 or 4 right hands from Madrimov. Straight, back to back, boom, boom. And he took them. If you think that Crawford is just going to stand in front of Canelo like that, you're lying to yourself, my brother. Or you're not accepting Crawford's true skill level, that you're not understanding that he's able to adapt to his opponent. That's what you're not seeing. Why you not seeing what he did to Errol Spence? Why you not seeing that and saying, well, damn, look what he did to Errol Spence. What about when he get in there with Canelo? You're going by Madrimov. Oh, look at his performance versus Madrimov. Well, no, my brother, styles make fights. And that's the thing. Madrimov is like this. 24/7 like this. Fainting 24/7. He's a guy who's hard to time. Canelo is not that. Canelo stands right in front of you. Canelo's going to cooperate for you to hit him. But you're going to find out. You're going to find out that styles make fights. Pierre, if the fight between Stanionis versus Virgil has happened, this question going to get answered against Boots. Nah, it won't, brother. It won't. Facing a common opponent doesn't mean anything. Because I just gave you an example. Look, Muhammad Ali and George Foreman both faced Joe Frazier. Joe Frazier beat Ali, but he couldn't beat Foreman. So they both faced the same opponent, had different results, yet when Ali and Foreman fought each other, Ali beat him. Ali beat him and stopped him. Why you ain't caring about Bivol versus Beterbiev 3? We don't care about that shit for real. Bro, listen. We already saw Bivol and Beterbiev for 24 rounds. We didn't need a third one. We don't need 36 rounds. Or at least we don't need a back-to-back-to-back. Bivol should have defended his title against the Mexican monster David Benavidez. That's what Bivol was supposed to do. But I guess, His Excellency Turkey El Aushi gets what he wants, and he forced Bivol to duck Benavidez. Raw dog Benavidez, with one leg, gave Bud fits. I don't know how he gave him fits, but beat him up. Beat him up. Stopped him. I don't know how you beat up a guy and stop him and you're talking about fits. Erislandis Lara gave Canelo fits. Dimitri Bivol beat the shit out of him. Floyd Mayweather beat the shit out of him. A lot of people felt Triple G beat the shit out of him in their first fight. And you talking about a guy that Crawford knocked out? Come on now. Come on now, bro. Come on now. Let's be for real. Angry Mexican, Ali, Foreman, Norton, and Frazier were all from the same weight class, though. Okay, then they're all from the same weight class. Duran moved up in weight when he beat Sugar Ray Leonard. Sugar Ray Leonard moved up in weight where he beat Tommy Hearns. There you go. I gave you people that were not in the same class, moved up and beat up the bigger guy. There you have it, my brother. Angry Mexican, but did not look good. Did not look that good at 154. That's your opinion. You see, look at the difference between your opinion and the facts. You're saying he did not look good. Crawford won a title at 154. That's pretty good. He's undefeated at 154. That's pretty good. Angry Mexican, Bud can run around like Skull. What you mean, Turkey? Turkey is not the one who's deciding, right? I mean, Turkey's involved when it comes to this fight. He's the one that reached out to Canelo and I guess made the offer. Angry Mexican, Bivol was bigger. Floyd fought a young weight drain. So for both time Canelo lost, you have an excuse. Floyd fought him young and Bivol was bigger. He got excuses every time Canelo get his ass whooped. You see? Angry Mexican, Hangler beat Leonard for me, but I hear you. He beat him for you. But think about it. How relevant is it that he beat him for you? Maidana beat Floyd for me. Castillo beat Floyd for me. What the fuck does that mean, bro? That don't mean anything that he beat him for you. That don't mean shit, my brother. Sugar Ray Leonard won that fight after moving up in weight. It has happened in boxing before. Crawford is not the first one attempting to do it. Road Dog, Bud has never fought at 168. Will his added weight make a difference? We're going to find out. I know you'd like to frame it in a negative way. Like, yeah, he's not going to be good. He's not going to be fast. He's not going to be strong. Canelo. You're going to find out. You're going to find out what elite level athleticism is able to do moving up in weight. You're going to find out. I already know what an elite level athlete like Terence Crawford is going to be able to do. But you find out. Then I'll be telling you, I told you so. Pierre, so what's the super fight to make this year? Canelo versus Crawford. That's the biggest fight of the year. That thing is going to do over 1 million pay-per-views. It's going to be huge. Mexico versus the United States. The Mexican fighter versus the African American. There's history there. And you're going to see monster pay-per-view numbers. The Raider Stadium is going to be sold out. Quick. But that's true. If Floyd fought Canelo at 2016 or 17, I promise you Canelo will beat him. Come on, bro. You're promising what you think would have happened. I don't think Canelo would have beat him at no point in time. Now, you got to understand, how old was Floyd 2016, 2017? How old was Floyd? Because when he fought Canelo, he was already, 36, 37? What you mean, Canelo would have beat Floyd when Floyd was 40 years old? When he was an old man? If you take Floyd Mayweather in his prime and Canelo in his prime, Floyd Mayweather whooping his ass and making it look easy. Easy. Making him look like an amateur. Pierre, Vargas versus Abdullah. Who you got? I got Abdullah Mason. However, Vargas is a special fighter. He can fight very good. Very technically sound. But I got Abdullah Mason. Abdullah Mason is just a special fighter. Angry Mexican, what do you think about Turkey saying Dana White is going to promote Canelo versus Bud? I mean, honestly, that's crazy to me. That Dana White is going to be involved in that fight. Like, what? You don't know shit about boxing. How you getting involved in this one? I don't think it's supposed to be Dana White promoting this fight, but I don't know if it's going to be... I don't know. I don't even know what to say, my brother, because I was not aware of that. So I got to do a little bit of research and get back to you. Pierre, it's on a Friday. That's gonna drop the pay-per-view buys for sure. Who's better, Floyd or Crawford? That's to be determined. Crawford hasn't retired yet. If Crawford retires today, you gotta put Floyd ahead of him. But we gotta let Crawford's career play out and see who else he's gonna beat before he retires. Hash Bass, if Crawford beat Canelo, I would like to see Crawford face the Mexican Monster. Like, that shit don't even make sense. The Mexican Monster fighting at 175 right now. We're already saying that Crawford is too small because he's fighting at 168. And you want to see him fighting at 165. Yo, what I like the best about Hash Bass is that you're always saying who you want Crawford to fight. A big, stronger guy that's 3 divisions ahead of him. You want everybody else. But why you never want Tank to fight bigger guys? Look, you want Crawford to fight the Mexican Monster, who's a giant in front of Terrence Crawford. How come you never want Tank Davis to fight bigger guys? How come when I tell you about Tank Davis fighting Teofimo Endeavor, you're like, nah, because Tank Davis is at 135. He can only fight at 135. But you want Crawford to fight a 175 pounder. You see what is it that makes you a Terrence Crawford and a Shakur Stevenson hater? You find these big ass fighters that you want them to fight, but then when we talk about Tank Davis, you're like, nah, Tank Davis can only be at 135, and I want him to fight guys from 130 like Lamar Roach that move up to fight him. When are you gonna want Tank Davis to move up to welterweight and fight Boots? Why you don't want Tank Davis to move to 154 and fight Virgil? Oh, you want Tank Davis to fight little guys from lower divisions. But you want other guys to fight the big guys, the best. That's what I be telling you, man. You Tankomaniacs, fanagers, want everybody to fight the best except Tank Davis. Jesus Christ. Mr. Cayo, imagine Crawford versus Benavidez. It'd be his brother. That fight would never happen. Yeah, that fight's never gonna happen. Only Tankomaniacs would ask Crawford to move up to 175 to fight Benavidez. Like, that's crazy. Cito, Jay, can't compare Spence to Canelo. I'm not comparing Spence to Canelo. All I'm saying is that when Crawford was gonna fight Canelo, the whole narrative, and I'm sure you was one of the people with the narrative, because you already got an excuse for Canelo right now, is that Spence is too big. Spence is way too big. Spence is going to beat him up. Crawford is too little. Oh, but as soon as Crawford put the beats on him, y'all brought up the car accident. And the funny thing about that car accident is that Errol Spence didn't even break a single bone in his body. And he fought Bud years after the car accident with no injury that he had from that accident. Not a single broken bone. That's how I already know that you a Terrence Crawford hater, bro. My man brought the car accident. It's like the car accident left when Errol Spence beat Danny Garcia and Errol Spence beat Ugas for a title, but the accident came back when Terrence Buck Crawford beat the shit out of him. Don't even mention that car accident ever again if you don't want to embarrass yourself, man. Embarrassing. Angry Mexican. Both time Tank fought above 135, he slapped rehydration clauses on Ryan and Barrios. Hash Bass, Tank beat Barrios, a bigger guy. Bro, when Tank beat Barrios, Barrios was a secondary champion. Are you comparing Barrios to David Benavidez? David Benavidez is a pound-for-pound fighter, one of the best of this generation. Who the fuck is Mario Barrios? And then you bringing up a Barrios fight from an older fight, an old Tank fight. Well, Terrence Crawford also moved up to 154, and he beat a real champion who had a real title. Why you not asking Tank Davis to fight a guy like David Benavidez? How you saying, well, yeah, but he already beat Barrios. Well, but already beat. Bro, look how long. Look at the comments. Look how long it took you to come with that whack-ass comeback. That's how long it took you. Like you thought about it so hard. Like, damn, I need to have something for Tank. What can I say about Tank? Because I'm always defending his cherry picking. Tank beat Barrios at a higher division. You comparing Barrios to David Benavidez? I should block your ass just for that. You comparing Barrios to David Benavidez? That's why you be getting blocked from all them YouTube channels. Because you make some whack ass comparisons. Because you always defending Tank. Nigga said Terrence Crawford should fight the Mexican monster. How about Tank? Oh, he fought Barrios. What? Are you serious, man? That's why you be getting blocked from all them YouTube channels. Because you be saying some goofy ass shit, bro. Nigga said Barrios. And you still mentioning Barrios. Bro, that's a past fight from Tank Davis. We're talking about future fights from Tank Davis. Terrence Crawford also beat Madrimov. That was at a higher division. Terrence Crawford's had won in more divisions than Tank Davis. So why are you asking for Crawford to fight Benavidez, but with Tank Davis you bringing up Barrios? That's a fight that he fought, what, a year, 2 years ago? Why you not asking Tank Davis to fight somebody of Benavidez stature? That's embarrassing, bro. That's why you be getting blocked out of YouTube channels. MAW, underrated. But only fighting Canelo because Canelo generates most money. Has all the belts in the division. And yo, the funny thing is that Tank Davis fought Barrios at 140 when Josh Taylor was the undisputed champion. Josh Taylor was the undisputed champion. You know what undisputed champion means? It means that you hold all of the major titles in the division. Tank Davis fought Barrios for secondary titles, and that's who Hashbash got the balls to bring up. Oh, he fought Barrios, so Crawford should fight Benavidez. Barrios Benavidez. You making a fool out of yourself, bro. Barrios Benavidez, you making a fool out of yourself. MAW, Canelo fight better. Tank fight for Bud. Theo Knight, what do you look for in a man? In a man? Well, Theo Knight, I don't know what you look for in a man, but I'm looking to block your ass for that dumbass question. That's what I'm looking for. Motherfucker said what you look for in a man. Does this look like a dating channel or something? Does this look like a dating YouTube channel? Raw Dog, I like when Wilder accused Breland of poisoning him. That was the craziest excuse ever. Oh my God, yo, that was crazy because y'all remember at that time it was the suit was too heavy. The suit that he chose to wear for the ring walk was too heavy. Then Breland spiked his water. And there was a couple of more excuses that I can't even remember. But Wilder was definitely a sore loser when that happened. And even going forward, his career just went downhill after that. After that, he just started getting beat up. So obviously, had nothing to do with Breland. Angry Mexican. Tank diehard fans used to argue with me that Tank WBA regular belts were the major belts. Yo, Tank is the undisputed regular champion. My brother got himself a regular title at 135 and another regular title at 140. And a lot of people don't realize this. But when you have a regular title, you don't get mandatories. You don't get mandated to fight the best. You can literally pick and fight whoever you want to fight. So that's why Tank Davis never wanted the main title, because then he would have been mandated to fight these guys. So he hold on to the secondary titles because the Tankomaniacs, they believe those titles are real. They believe it. They've been bamboozled to believe that those titles are real. Angry Mexican, yeah. He ran Mark Breland's name into the ground. Yeah, man, he did Mark Breland dirty. Dirty. And then look, what happened when he got... Yo, you know that Wilder was messed up in the head when he hired a guy that he knocked out that wasn't known to be a top-notch trainer or anything like that. You knocked him out and you hire him to train you? We seen you practicing a 360? spinning around, and you got knocked out doing that same 360 versus Big Bang Zane. I don't know what the hell you was doing. I don't know what y'all was doing. So, I'm on record as saying, I believe that Deontay Wilder, he's made a shitload of money. I don't think that he blew his fortune. I think he's good. To me, he should retire because he's been knocked out a few times, took some nasty beatings, some nasty punishments, and those are the type of fights that cause brain damage. Those are the type of fights that have a guy messed up in the game in his personal life after they retire from boxing. So if Deontay Wilder got money like that, I know that he's gonna have one fight now, that he's coming back for a fight. I believe he should win that fight and retire on a win. Hash Bash, JSmiff, who's all the main champion at 135? You see, that's what makes you a tankomaniac. You just said that Terence Crawford should fight Benavidez at 175. Why are you not saying that Tank Davis should fight Boots at 147? Why are you not saying that Tank Davis should fight Virgil Ortiz at 154? So other fighters can move up to fight big names, to fight the best big guys, but Tank Davis can only fight at 135 according to your logic? What kind of logic you got going on, bro? What kind of tankomaniac shit you got going on? Tank is not going to send you a check. Why you want everybody to face the big dogs and you like, no, but Tank can only fight at 135? Come on now. Stop it. OT, Wilder got bad karma all over him with that Breland stuff. I mean, he did Breland dirty. He did him dirty. That's real talk. And you saw how his career played out afterwards. He just, started racking up losses and getting knocked out. Angry Mexican, Mark was before my time, but doing some research, he was not just one of the best American amateurs ever. He's one of the best amateurs ever. A guy who can fight and who was a very good trainer, who took Deontay Wilder all the way. They should have never parted ways. Wilder took a loss and decided to have excuses and do all that crazy stuff. Cito, Tank should fight Tio at 147. I mean, Tank could fight Tio at 147. He could fight Devin Haney at 147. He can fight Jerome Boots Ennis at 147. But Tank Davis fans, they don't want him to fight any of the best. They want Bud Crawford to fight the best. They want everybody else to fight the best. And then when you ask him, how about Tank Davis? Look at the answer I just got from a Tankomania. Well, he fought Barrios at 140 and who's at 137 because he can only fight at 137. How the hell you got the balls to say that Crawford should fight Benavidez at 175, but Tank Davis could only fight at 137? You gotta take that Kizak out your mouth, bro. God damn. Angry Mexican Tail would take that Tank fight at 140. Cito, Barrios ain't it, bro. My man's brought up Barrios like that's a big win for Tank Davis. Barrios. He really tried to compare Barrios with David Benavidez. The Mexican monster, a pound-for-pound fighter, one of the best of this era, Mario Barrios. That's some real Tankomaniac shit. Keston Luke, Roach walked Tank down for 12 rounds. How is Roach not in the talks? Now, Lamar Roach is in the conversation. He's in the conversation for sure. And his stock went way up after that fight. They will be fighting again. Let's see in the rematch. But we got to remember, Lamar Roach is a guy who was a 130-pounder. He made his debut at 135 versus Tank Davis. Just like Androide Garcia, another 130-pounder who made his debut at 135 versus Tank Davis. So people don't look at Lamar Roach as a 135-pounder because he never fought in that division. He has one fight, and it's his debut against Tank Davis. Keston Luke, I say Roach beats Tank 2. Well, to be honest, That's my prediction. I say that Lamar Roach beats Tank Davis in the rematch. You know, that first fight, I felt like he got Tank's number. Just like you mentioned that he walked Tank down for 12 rounds. That's my main talking point when it comes to that fight. Lamar Roach didn't go the distance by running around and trying to survive. He went the distance by taking it to Tank. And whenever Tank Davis stood his ground, Lamar Roach stood right there with him and traded leather and won a lot of those exchanges. Frustrated Tank Davis, made him take a knee, made him lie about grease in his eyes, had him acting out of character, complaining to the referee, turning his back and walking to his corner. Yo, Lamar Roach had Tank Davis out of character, out of order. So I feel like, you know what? Lamar Roach could potentially have Tank Davis's number. The following fight plays out very similar, but Lamar Roach wins more convincingly. Because I felt like even without the knee, even without the point deduction that they stole from him, I felt like he still won that fight. Tank Davis was gifted that draw. Cito, why y'all think Blair Cobb versus Barrios at 147? Then the winner of Haney versus Garcia takes the winner of Barrios versus Blair. Blair the Flame. You know, I don't think there's going to be a rematch, at least right now, with Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney. I don't know. I don't think they're going to have an immediate rematch. I think that Devin Haney might actually fight Rollies, because Rollies won. Or even, y'all remember that the winner of Ryan Garcia's and Rollies was going to be mandated to fight Boots for one of his titles. Let's see if Rollies is mandated to fight Boots. Kester Luke, Haney should take a seat. Him and his daddy. Garcia should sit his ass down too. Rolly stock is up. Yo, Rolly stock is way up. He made everybody fumble the bag. He threw a wrench into everybody's plans. Because, you know, supposedly Ryan Garcia was going to fight a rematch with Devin Haney. This was going to set up for that. That rematch might be in limbo right now. That's it. We don't know what's going to happen with that fight. Ryan Garcia was also going to be mandated to fight Boots. That's not going to happen. He lost to Rollies. So we got to see now how this whole situation is going to play out. My peoples, I'm about to end this live. But before I do, I want to give a shout out to Keston Luke, OT, Cito, John Parham, Hash Bass, and everybody else, Angry Mexican, MAW, and everybody else who came through. Y'all already know what it is, my peoples. We got some big fights coming up. I'm going to be doing those fights live as I always do. Some new videos I posted today. Check those out. Y'all see it, man. I'm JSmiff. This is Box Center. This is your favorite boxer's favorite boxing show. My peoples, I'm going to see y'all tomorrow, man. I appreciate y'all dropping in. I'm out of here. Salute, bam, and peace out.